Why can't I say no to readalongs? I'm now signed up for 3 buddy reads and readalongs, all of them big fantasy series, all of them chunky books. I just can't resist. I have to say yes. But before we get into the readalongs, let's start with a local author who's doing a new release in September. I think it comes out September the 7th. I say local. She lives 5 miles down the road. Never met her. You may know her. She has had some success in the past, but she's writing her first historical fiction, and it is Zadie Smith with The Fraud. So this comes out, I think it's the 7th of September. It's her first foray into historical fiction, which is quite exciting. I'm a big fan of historical fiction, so we'll see how she does that. But it's set in Victorian England. It's around what's known as the Tichborne trial, which is a trial of sort of an Australian butler, I believe, who came over and claimed that they were the heir to quite a large estate and fortune. It sort of split Victorian England at the time. I believe it's sort of Dickensian. We've got a Dickensian influence. I think even Dickens may even make an appearance in this book. Quite a few of the, or my understanding is quite a few of the places in the book are quite local to me as well, which would be always interesting to see. So it should be quite interesting. Obviously, she's had huge success with other books that she's written. So it'll be interesting to see how she moves into the historical fiction field and how that fits and whether that works for her or not. But I'm quite excited about it. So that'll be The Fraud. So we're picking that up when it comes out on the 7th of September. So look forward to reading that. We have then got a couple of library loans that are coming in, which I didn't expect, but it looks like they're going to be in this month. So we've got in Ascension, which is a Booker Longlisted book. I know it's very popular. I've heard great things. Willow from Books and Bow absolutely loved it. I think that's probably why I put it on my library loan list, which was before the book, and then the Booker long list came out and it was on that as well. So I think we've got a marine biologist escaping a volatile household and delving into a new world, deep trench, which leads to more and more expansion of the story. So I don't know a huge amount about it, but I've basically got it on the rave reviews I've heard, and now it's been long listed as well. Obviously a lot of people are reading it, so we'll see what I think. So this is coming probably in the next week or so from the library. I need to go and pick it up. We have then got another library book that's coming in, which is Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. So this is a retelling of Medusa from the viewpoint of Medusa. This should be quite fascinating. Again, I've heard very positive things regarding it, and what I'm looking for here is probably some witty dialogue within it, but we've got, it should be interesting to see the story from Medusa's point of view, how she became who she is, because we get a very one-sided view from the myths about Medusa, about this monster who turned people to stone. But why? What's the story to that? And I think it'll be dealing with certain topics which are going to be challenging. I think there'll be abuse of power by men over Medusa, or maybe gods over Medusa. There's a myth after all. But we will see how that goes. So I'm quite interested in that one. Again, that should be coming from the library, so I need to get that one. So I think that's all the books. There's one other book that I don't currently have, which is part of the read-along. So if we get into the read-alongs, and let's see what we're going to do there. So the read-alongs, we have got so Tori from Tori Talks. I'll link her channel down below. She is doing a read-along of the Greenbone saga, so starting with Jade City by Fonda. This sounds like such an epic trilogy. I'm really thoroughly looking forward to reading this. We've got it's fantasy, but it's been described as mafia-esque, so but it's Asian inspired. So we've got Asian gangsters who use jade because it gives certain powers or abilities. Not quite sure, again, I'm trying not to read too much into it, but I've heard a lot of positive things about this trilogy. So it starts with Jade City, which we're going to read this month. I like the use of jade, which is obviously a stone from Asia, which has always I say always, for a long time had sort of a mythic significance to many cultures in Asia. So this should be fascinating. I mean, gangsters and fantasy and magic, what could go wrong? Probably everything, but that'll be exciting to see. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're then continuing a read along with the Faithful and the Fallen series. So I've read the first two. You'll have my thoughts on the second one in the wrap up next week, which was Valor. Just say now, bloody brilliant. This is now Ruin, which is the third book in the quadrilogy. So we've got one more after this. So far, this has been absolutely exceptional epic fantasy. Many multiple points of view. That's a bit excessive use of words there, but massive number of multiple points of view. Short chapters, fast-paced, action, and yet emotional, and yet you feel connected to a huge number of characters, which is always surprising when you have such a range of people involved in the stories and you still manage to feel connected to the vast majority of them and connected to the stories and want them to succeed and feel their trials and tribulations. So I'm really looking forward to this. The second one ended magnificently and I had tears in my eyes at the end of the second one. Ruin, the title doesn't bode well for my emotional state at the end of this. So we'll see how that one goes. I've then got the third buddy read along that I've managed to sign up for. And this is, we're doing a buddy read. I think there's 4 of us at the moment doing a buddy read through the Keymark Discord for the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. So the first one is The Grace of Kings. And this is a beautiful cover. I mean, this is absolutely stunning. So yeah, Dandelion Dynasty. My understanding of this is sort of Asian inspired fantasy. I've tried not to read too much into it. Again, they're big chunky books. I understand the first one is it seems to be a lot of individual stories, all sort of linked together, I'm assuming, just by the way it seems to be set out on the index. But then I've heard the sequels are just a step up and step up and step up from the first one. So I'm really looking forward to getting involved in this read along and seeing what Ken Liu can do himself. I've obviously read recently the 3-Body Problem, the Remembrance of Earth's Path trilogy, which he translated. I enjoyed those 3. Obviously very different stories, and this is his original work rather than a translation, but it should be fascinating to see what his style is actually like. You know, everyone raves about this. We've got emperors, we've got gods, we've got, you know, just epic fantasy again. So why read one epic fantasy series when you can read 3? No challenge there, so that's the plan. And then I'm hoping to continue Discworld as well. So moving on to Moving Pictures, which is in the Discworld. This is where they create the silver screen, the magic of movies. So we should see what that one's like. I'm sure it's great. What else am I looking at reading? I'm going to be reading probably one more I've got on the list, which will be an audiobook, which will be The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I'm looking at this as a bit of a palate cleanser. It's quite short, should be amusing, hopefully it'll be quite funny, light-hearted, and hopefully it'll just get a real refresh of a good fun read. So we've got that as well. I think that's all the books I'm planning to read. I've gone way over top in the fantasy epics. 3 massive series that I'm now starting to read, and that's going to take up a huge amount of my reading. We've got a new release by Zadie Smith, which is quite exciting. We've got Ascension from the Booker Longlist. We've got obviously some Terry Pratchett. We've got some hopefully humorous sci-fi. We've got some ancient myth retellings in Medusa. What more could you want? I suppose the only thing I haven't got really on the list at the moment is non-fiction. I'm not reading a classic this month, but we'll be back to classics next month. Frankenstein for October. That's the plan. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please do like, comment, subscribe. There'll be more videos next week. We've got a review coming out, I think, on the 3-Body Problem itself on Monday. And then on the Friday, we will have my wrap-up of the month. Hopefully I'll see you all there. But for now, bye.